things are going. The this situation with the pandemic, it's still there, but
It's ridiculous.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what's worse. I think I was watching something on YouTube this morning actually, and it was Mark Zuckerberg interviewing Dr. Fauci.
Ah,
You know the American,
yeah, yeah, you know.
yeah, the American guy, the chief
The
medical officer.
genius, the genius.
And I was like, it's like, and this guy was, and Zuckerberg was talking about how he was disappointed in the response to the pandemic. And I was just scratching my head. I was like, this guy's entire business is a pandemic.
Yeah, yeah,
You know what I mean?
definitely.
Facebook,
Yeah, yeah,
Instagram.
absolutely. This is the real.
He's the real pandemic. You know what I mean? He's the
Yeah,
reason
yeah,
why we have another pandemic.
yeah,
In
yeah.
many ways.
It's a
You know,
pandemic inside a pandemic.
exactly like Russian dolls. Like you pull them
Yeah,
apart
yeah.
and you find more
Chinese
pandemics.
boxes, pandemic.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah,
So he was like,
absolutely agree. Yeah.
"Oh, I'm disappointed in the way you guys are being treated. This pandemic should have happened, should have been dealt with properly." I was like, "Okay, fair enough." But what about
Yeah,
you?
in the meantime, the real people and doctors, they discovered that's the only thing I read relevant about in this week is that the UV
Mm,
light
yeah,
rays are impacting on the spreading of the virus. So
oh yeah,
if you are there, yeah, yeah. If there are UVs,
mm,
there are no chances to get the virus. And
really?
it could be true. Yeah, yeah. It's an Italian study
Okay,
and research made. So basically, it's depending. This is a factor that can avoid the spreading of the virus because
mm,
now the temperature is higher and there are no rainy days.
mm,
And daily we are having 80 people in the country positives, okay.
mm.
And now if you think about it, that in India before that they are closer to China, there was
Right,
nothing, right?
right,
Correct.
right.
Now it's a period of the monsoon.
Mm-hmm.
The monsoons,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uh, and in this period, there is not the weather is not good. There is no sun,
Mm.
and if you notice, the cases are increasing in the last 2 months in India also.
Yeah, I mean, it's obvious that the weather contributes to the either the increase or the decrease of the spread. But again, I'm not even sure how valid that is because yes, I think if it's like the winter is coming, and that's going to be a problem for everyone, in the West especially, because it means that there'll be no sunlight really, and it's just going to be a lot to deal with. But in Africa, which is my point, it's predominantly sun, and
Uh-huh.
the COVID is, well, it didn't spread. It wasn't really prevalent in the in Africa initially, but recently it's been spreading like crazy actually
Yeah, but now it's winter, man.
in Africa.
Yeah,
What are you talking about?
no, it's winter season.
No, there's no
You
winter
know
in
that
Africa,
we
man.
have the opposite. When it's summer in our hemisphere,
Yeah,
in Australia, Africa, South Africa,
bro, there's no
it's
winter in
always
Africa.
no.
No. Yeah, I mean the weather is consistently okay. Let's take Nigeria. Nigeria doesn't have a winter. We have rainy season. So maybe you're right to a degree, right? We have rainy season, but the weather is still, well, the temperature is usually like an average of 30 degrees.
Yeah,
And for
because it's closer to the
equator, exactly,
equator. Yeah,
exactly.
but
But
South
predominant,
Africa and country like this, they are
yeah,
far
yeah, but it's no winter
from
in South
them.
Africa.
But the
Nah.
temperature are lower,
Well, for some
I
parts of the
guess.
year, yeah. But my point is that Africa predominantly doesn't suffer from cold weather. That's not a trait.
Yeah, but clouds,
You're trying
we
to prove
have
this point.
clouds.
Um. Okay. Let's see. Let's see. I'm gonna Google. I'm gonna Google what's the temperature in. Let's take Senegal. Right.
hmm
Let's see.
This social experiment,
Nah, it's just some
live,
weather.
a
Just checking the
live
weather.
experiment
What is the temperature?
by scientist one and scientist two.
Exactly.
We
In
are
Senegal.
debating.
Because you're not wrong. It's just that, well, regarding Africa, you can't tell me that there's winter. That doesn't make any sense. So it's
Yeah.
29 degrees in Senegal.
Mm-hmm.
The sun is predominantly out. There's a bit of wind.
Sure.
It's partly cloudy, but it's still hot, right? You still got the sun.
But it's based on the UV. So if the UV are there on 10 degrees, it's still counting.
No, exactly. And it's 29 degrees.
Yeah, the temperature is not relevant
So it's just the
in
use
this
saying
theory.
the ray of light, basically.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. So what's your theory that what does it need to drop to? Like what's the scale? Because I know nothing about UV, to be honest.
Mm.
UV index. Okay, let's see.
We should, I think, in the indoor places, we should set and install UV machines like the suntan sunbeds, like the sunbeds.
Okay, so I'm looking at this and it says the UV index, blah blah blah. So the higher the UV, the greater the risk of sunburn for white people. Obviously,
Come
obviously
on,
white, obviously for
this
white
is
people. Yeah.
bullshit. This is this is
No, it's true.
bullshit.
No, it's not bullshit. The UV index represents a greater risk of sunburn due to UV exposure. Yeah, it didn't say for white people. I'm
Yeah,
adding
but
for
it's
white
not
people.
saying about COVID.
No. I'm talking about
So,
UV generally.
ah,
Yeah, I'm not. I'm not. Yeah, I'm making fun of white people, but I'm talking about UV generally, right?
okay.
So the index of zero means UV radiation is zero. So there's no. So it's like nighttime basically.
Yeah,
Um,
correct.
can you? Okay, so some idiots asked the question: can you tan UV index one?
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so that's just really stupid, and the
uh,
answer is no, obviously, because UV at one is very low on a very cloudy day in winter, right? And like I said, most African countries don't experience winter the way the West does. I mean, I think it snows in South Africa to some degree, but most other countries don't. 6 to 7 UV, that's high on a sunny day in spring or autumn. Okay, so I would say Africa's probably had an index, generally has an index of maybe between 6 to 10, even on a miserable day.
on a regular
Um,
basis. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Whether it's cloudy or not, you tend to get an adequate amount of sunshine. Um, let's see, which country has the highest level of UV? Okay. So
Uh,
check this out, right? So it's not
maybe Congo, maybe. I don't
maybe
know.
Congo, but actually says the following countries have higher UV levels: Peru, Chile, and Argentina.
Hmm.
Exactly. And I think they're struggling as well. No, it's not just Brazil, because Brazil really kind of messed up.
Yeah, they are not following any restriction.
No. They've turned their
They're
backs
just
on
living their best life.
they've
Yeah.
turned their backs on reality basically,
Yeah.
and reason. So good luck to them. Uh, okay, what's the UV index of Nigeria currently? Let me just check because it's quite bad in Nigeria. UV index Nigeria.
I would say 10 by guessing.
Because it's raining season. So let's see.
Ah.
Yeah,
Oh, that's why the cases are increasing then.
yeah. So I want to see whether it matches to your
Theory.
exactly. It doesn't say. It should say. That doesn't make any sense. Come on,
Yeah, it
Nigeria.
should.
I don't know if the Italians have a clue.
Hmm.
You're not sure.
No. Uh,
Okay. Oh, my iPad just went off, so I need to use my phone.
oh, good.
That's I was about to
Maybe
say it as well.
it's 15, maybe.
Maybe. Um. So it should be. I was about to. It was literally there. So let's uncover this once and for all. This makes no sense. Do you know? It actually confused me, right? Because oh, there we go. Okay, we've got it. So the average is, let's say, we've got 4, 7, 10, 8, 9, 6, 8, 8, 2, right?
Yeah.
So maybe that's an average of 5. It's like right bang in the middle. Even though I would say, how many 8s are there? 8, 8, 3, 8, 1, 9, 1, 7. I would say it's an average of 6 or 7, right? Because the highest is 10, the lowest is 2, that's just 1. So I'll say 7. So that's a high UV index. And, well, the country is suffering right now. So,
This is maybe there is a relation
to what?
on this struggling.
Yeah, but I'm saying that because you're saying that if the UV index is high, then
Yeah, but maybe five
you're less likely.
is not
Yeah, but
is
I'm saying
not
it's 7.
so high.
I'm saying it's 7. Yeah, not
7.
5. Yeah, 7 is pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. But also here's the kicker, right? So March, April was the start of rainy season in Nigeria, and there were virtually no cases. Really, it wasn't really a problem. So I think it was late April, early May. I think started to kick in. But I don't, like I said. I mean, we're looking at this now and saying that the UV index is, well, maybe roughly 7 across the country. That's not too bad.
Yeah.
So, but that sounds like. do you want my
But
honest
maybe
opinion?
all of those infected people, they got the virus in not under the UVs.
Well,
They were not there
well, like indoors.
in the right place to avoid.
Well, maybe. But do you know, my theory is that I've heard Donald Trump say some shit around this, and anytime I hear someone say UV, I always think of Donald Trump. So that's why my instinct is to debunk it.
Ah.
just because he's kind of tried to toss that out there.
Oh, I
You know,
didn't know about him talking about the UVs.
oh, he spoke about UV. Well, maybe he didn't say UV because I don't think he knows what that is. I think he said some light. He said light, hot light. He said something stupid like that. He said
The speed of
swallow,
light.
drinking bleach. Remember that?
Yeah. That is unforgettable.
That's exactly
Unforgettable.
that's a classic bar right there. You know, like a Eminem line. That's his quote.
uh,
But yeah, so we have a poem today.
oh yes, we almost forgot.
I didn't forget. I just wanted to drag it out a bit. So this one is by. Okay, so first of all, I got what is it? A LinkedIn message from an old friend of mine, and she was like, "Oh, Tola, thank you and Filippo for the podcast. Like, I'm really enjoying it. It's really insightful, that kind of stuff." And she shared a poem which was in Arabic.
Is an Arab your friend
Well,
writing the writer?
well, she's I think she's Pakistani, but she's English. I think she was born in the UK.
But supporting the Arabic poetry.
Well, I don't know
Because I'm not
but
connecting, I'm not, it's hard for me to connect Pakistan to the Arabic, the Middle East.
Absolutely. So
I don't
that's
consider Middle East, but maybe I'm wrong as usual.
well, that's a good question because it's not Palestine, it's Pakistan, right? So
Yeah,
Palestine is Arab, Pakistani
it's
it,
Asia.
the
Yeah,
Asia, exactly, just like the Indians, right?
area.
So, well, anyways, maybe she speaks Arabic because she's
Oh, but
because
maybe he's very attracted by their culture, and it's a good thing. Always
in okay, so
discovering new
okay, let's get to the
cultures.
bottom of this. So she's Muslim, Pakistani, but British, and the subtitles were in English. So I think maybe a friend of hers said, "Oh, I like this poem. It's in Arabic, but maybe you." But Muslims, I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
not every Muslim speaks Arabic, so that's a stupid thing to say. But anyway,
yeah. Correct.
that's not the point really. She sent me this beautiful poem in Arabic, and it had like English subtitles, and it was very profound. And anyway, I was like, "Oh wow, this is really cool." So
We
I
should have
decided
read it in Arabic, in my opinion.
we should have, but it was like 3 minutes long. So I was like, I wanted to read it because when she sent, it, I was like, "Oh, I'm going to check this out and I'm going to read on the podcast." But it was like 3 minutes in, I was like, "Okay, maybe not." Like I don't have that kind of time. Um, but I did look into Arab poets, right? So I came up with this one. This
Marat
guy,
al-Numan.
exactly, Marat al-Numan in Syria, from
Persian.
Syria.
Yeah.
Is it Persian? Well, no. The Iranians,
Persian.
the Iranians are
Syria.
Persians. No. Well, some of the
Parts. Yeah, yeah.
some of the Syrians are Sunni, rest are Shiite. Yeah. Anyway, I don't know. Let me read the guy's background actually because I think it's quite cool. If I can find it. Um. There we go. Because this guy was actually blind at a young age, which was, and he never left the house until I think he didn't leave his house until his late 40s. So he was kind of just indoors. So he was left housebound for much of his life and did not leave the house for almost 4 decades, preferring solitude to mingling with people. I think even if he was, even if blind
How
or
can
not,
you blame him?
exactly. It's like, dude, man, like I'll stay indoors as well, blind or not. Uh, his poetry encompasses philosophy, contemplation, and pessimism. I understand the pessimism. He is regarded as the poet of philosophers and the philosopher of poets. That's a cool title.
Oh,
Al-Marini's masterpiece is called The Epistle of Forgiveness, which focuses on the experience of poets in hell and paradise more than 200 years before Dante's Divine Comedy, which is really interesting. But anyway, that's quite fascinating. The fact that he was blind and actually still was able to do stuff. Um, so let me read it, and you can tell me whether you like it or not.
hmm.
It's quite short as well, so you should be able to hold your attention. So it's called Two Epigrams About Death and Belief. So we laughed, and oh, how foolish was our laughter. Dwellers on earth should cry and never cease. Time's vagaries crush us like glass. Thereafter will never be remolded as one piece. Oh, that's deep. If after
Yeah.
death your body kept its shape, we might hope it will be revived again. Just as a jug emptied of wine could be refilled, as long as it remains unbroken. But all its parts have come undone and turned to particles of dust, swept by the winds. Hmm.
It's great, really.
You like it, huh?
I like it so much. Yeah.
Yeah. What sticks out to you?
There is this kind of atmosphere given by uh, that culture, the Arabic culture, that it's I don't have an explanation
Right.
because they they combine many elements and the deepness of their culture. Okay,
Right. Mm.
because they are still living.
What?
Luckily, because it's something I'm missing in Italy, for instance, about tradition, giving the right importance to the traditions,
Right.
the culture, and the way they believe in the things.
Yeah.
You can perceive in these two epigrams.
Right.
Yeah,
Right. This was written actually 1,000 years ago,
one
literally.
thousand years ago. Oh my.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
973 to 1057. So literally 1,000 years ago. Um, which is incredible.
yeah, yeah.
Um, I think my so it says two epigrams. What's an epigram?
Oh, what we are reading, it's like two different kind of stanzas. Let's say.
No, I'm not satisfied with that. Let's see. Because I okay, so let me hazard a guess. Because it said there are some
Hmm.
people who laugh and we should be crying. So it's like he said, we laugh and oh, how foolish our laughter. To others on earth should cry and never cease. So it's almost like there's some people who laugh, but you shouldn't be laughing, you should be crying. But I think you may have a point about the stanzas because maybe it's just two epigrams about death and belief, two standards. So let's see. I think you're probably right actually.
Yeah, without any connection. This is the difference between the real stanza.
Mm. What's an epigram? I've heard that word before.
It's like Nietzsche with aphorisms.
What's this?
It's like Nietzsche,
Nietzsche.
the
Yeah, yeah,
philosopher.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. What about him?
yeah, because he was, he was famous to write without any logical connection from
Yeah.
one point to another.
Yeah, I mean, he was well. He had an IQ of I think 200.
Oh, I
so
think 300. Yeah.
exactly. So he was a madman essentially, um, and he could condense like an entire book into one sentence. So he's
Also,
just a
yeah, yeah.
just a different breed. So an epigram is a short poem, especially a satirical one, with a witty or ingenious ending. So it's a short poem. Yeah, it's satirical. I didn't see any satire in this. It was kind of mocking, but it wasn't satirical. And it has a witty or ingenious end. Okay. No, I didn't get the wit. I didn't get the satire. I got the wisdom. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I got the wisdom. If after death your body kept it safe, we might hope it will be revived again, just as a jug emptied of wine could be refilled, as long as it remains unbroken. Okay, so it's making the point that hey, you be alright as long as you don't fall apart completely.
Yeah. Basically.
Yeah, but all its parts have come undone and turned its particles to dust swept by the winds. It's a heavy poem, man.
Yeah, and I can perceive the satirical cut on it.
Okay, go on.
Yeah. Because when he speaks about laughing, he speaks about laughing for something that is foolish. But as it's foolish, it's like it's considered as important by many.
Yeah. Okay. So
Okay.
you're saying that something that's important to them isn't really important.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm, interesting. I feel he's trying to say a lot more than we're giving him credit for.
For sure.
Yeah. So I'm looking at the third and fourth. So it says times vagaries. Vagaries. Interesting. Crush us like glass. thereafter will never be remolded as one piece. That's
Because they
deep,
are
man.
weak. They are weak.
Mm. Wow. Dwellers on earth should cry and never cease. So just be miserable, basically.
Yeah.
Because time crushes us like glass. So in the end of your time on earth, you're gone. They're like dust. And you'll never be remolded as one piece. There's also deep pessimism to this poem, I think.
Yeah, for sure. And you are
Yeah.
as weak as the dust with the wind.
Yeah, exactly.
There's no
Exactly.
defense when the
No
winds
no
come.
defense. No.
You will be
No.
blown far away,
Exactly.
by
He's
the
almost
wind.
saying, well, what are you celebrating? Why are you laughing? Like, don't you know?
There
Which
is
is
nothing to laugh. Yeah, there is
yeah.
nothing to laugh. Your fate is clear.
Exactly. Exactly.
So
But
even
that's
you ask
but
now, why
here's why I don't like it.
are we laughing?
Here's why I don't like it. I think it almost makes the assumption that life is meaningless,
Yeah,
which it
I give
isn't.
you that.
Yeah, I don't think it is. I don't think life has meaning. But I don't think it's meaningless. I think you have to find the meaning in life, right? So if it's doing something that you love, or maybe
But at the
making
end, whatever you consider to be meaningful, at the end you will be fucking dust.
yeah, true, but that doesn't necessarily invalidate what you've done. You know what I
Oh
mean? It's
yeah,
like
yeah, because
yeah,
it
exactly.
counts just in the present
I mean, think of
and
it
in
this
the
way.
future if you're still alive.
Think of it
Until
this
the
way.
moment you are alive.
Yeah, but you can do a lot of damage that can have generational effects, right? So just because
Hmm.
you're gone with the wind doesn't necessarily mean that what you've done is gonna go. So I think when we think of this sort of thing, we always go, "Oh, what if I help this person?" Like, "Oh, I don't care. It doesn't really matter that I help this person." Well, it kind of does because you've done something good in that person's life. It may not have meaning that transcends time necessarily, but imagine if you're Adolf Hitler and you murder a lot of people. Well, then you've not only caused trauma to a generation of people, but to
Yeah.
the generations after, right? So life does have meaning in that sense. Of course, if once you go and you're non-existent, then of course you're not relevant anymore, or your actions are. So I think it's almost
Oh
as if
yeah.
our actions take on a life of their own, if that makes sense.
But for many people in the world, even the actions they are not relevant. You know.
Exactly, which is
Only if you. It's a paradox, but if you murder someone,
yeah,
your action will be not forget. You know.
exactly. So that some people, so that people
Because
I
the
listen
people alive, they will still remember your face as the person who committed the crime
exactly,
against
yeah.
their friend, familiar, or
But I want to
parent.
go back to the point you made that not everyone matters. That's true.
Yeah,
And that's
basically,
true,
it's
right?
true. Huh?
There's some people who go to McDonald's every day and maybe they
Yeah,
go
those
home and they
people
watch TV and they
they
sleep.
live and go without being
Yeah, it's
noticed.
like you almost think to yourself, does that person really matter? You
Yeah,
know?
yeah,
Like really, like you walk down the street without your mask on, you're coughing
yeah.
everywhere.
Follow. Yeah, that's
You go
it.
to the
This
beach,
is
then you
your
go
life.
home.
That's
Yeah,
your
you're
life.
not adding. You're doing more sucking and taking than anything else.
Yeah.
What value are you adding? So I understand the pessimism, but I think that's a little dark. If I'm being honest, I'm just
Living
kidding.
80 years going to KFC and on summertime 1 week in Brighton.
On Brighton
That's it.
Beach,
On
exactly,
Brighton Pier. That's it.
exactly. Drinking till you pass out. Yeah, it's not.
Ah, that's it.
That's not life
What
worth
are your
living.
actions?
That's
There
that's
are
not
not.
life worth living.
Yeah.
No, not really. Anyway, I'm
Yeah.
trying to understand the last part of this poem actually, because I think he's saying, like I said, I think he's saying a lot more than I can see. So let me even read it again. Maybe I'll make sense of it this time. If after death your body kept its shape. Ah, okay. So that's what it matters. We might hope it will be revived again. So he's basically so I see the mockery there. Actually, he's almost saying like, look, if after death you didn't what's the word you didn't deteriorate, like a boy doesn't waste away after you die.
Yeah.
Yeah, we might hope that it might be revived again. So let's say that you didn't rot away. That we hope that we could actually do something to bring you back to life, right?
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
as
You
exactly,
can be brought back to life
yeah,
because your
exactly.
body is still there,
It's still
and
it's
your
exactly
actions were irrelevant. So
ex-
you can come back to be
to be
the
irrelevant
same
still.
irrelevant.
To be the same KFC eater,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Just as a jug emptied of wine could be refilled as long as it remains unbroken. Okay, fair enough. So he's comparing a human to a jug of wine. I like that. That's actually quite satirical,
Yeah,
actually.
he keeps going to KFC until you get broken again.
Exactly. I like this actually because
Yeah,
I see
absolutely.
the satire. He's almost like saying, "Hey, like imagine if like a jug of wine that's empty, you could be refilled again. Well, you can be refilled again as long as you're not broken." But it ends really like quite profound. That it's like
But there is nothing relevant on that, you know.
what do you mean?
No, I mean, in terms of actions, I get the satirical point here,
Yes, that
the
even
irony.
yeah, a jug of wine is like okay,
Yeah,
which goes back to to what he's saying earlier about having fun in life, like laughing. It's like what are you laughing about? You know, some people who drink to the puke and they do it again every
yeah.
weekend, they're just leading meaningless lives.
Until they are sick for something at some degree, and then they die, you know.
And then they die, yeah. But all its
That's the
parts have
glass,
come.
you know.
Yeah, exactly. But let me read the last part. So it says, but all its parts have come undone and turned to particles of dust swept by the wind. So exactly. So it's saying, look, your body, if it didn't turn to dust, maybe you're more than human. Maybe there's something to you. But you're just like the jug of wine.
Yeah.
That's exactly. You're filled
Eat
with wine.
the as much as you can on KFC. Then, when your body doesn't
Deteriorates.
take
Yeah,
it
dies.
anymore, you will die.
Yeah, and you'll be forgotten.
As
Yeah,
a person living like that. That's it.
yeah. I like this. This is really clever.
Yeah.
So this is Arabic literature. Yeah, because their mindset is different. Like, because this was written 1,000 years ago, and their world was also very different then. But it still resonates. That's why I love I love people who can write timelessly. Like he's not writing about sheeps and goats. In that sense, it's talking.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all about the human experience, which hasn't really changed since the beginning of time. It's like
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
born,
We
you
are still the
die.
same.
Exactly. There are people back then who used to drink wine all the time, maybe party. It's like, okay, fine, but you're not going to be here forever.
I think even worse, if I can say. We
Yeah,
are
go on.
even worse
Oh,
nowadays than before.
no, we have more reason to be worse. I don't think we're worse. I think we have more reason
I
to
think
be. Yeah,
we are worse
no, I
because
don't think so.
we are using the discoveries, the new technologies, not in the most clever way. You know,
But you're making that assumption that
the
those,
opposite.
yeah, but you're making that assumption that those people back in those days, if they were in our situation, would be better. And I don't think so.
Hmm.
Don't forget,
Yeah, but
we're descended
they
from
were
them.
seeking for discovering relevant things like lights, uh, DNA
That's because,
studies,
yeah, but
many
that's because,
things.
yeah, but that's because they didn't have Netflix.
Oh
If they had Netflix, I think there'll be less discoveries to hold.
yeah,
Yeah. Come
yeah,
on.
yeah. But that's a matter
Why do you want
of
to discover lights if you can just watch
willpower. Huh?
Netflix? Huh?
That's a matter of willpower.
No, I agree. I agree.
If you want to do something, you avoid the shit that we are getting nowadays. You know.
Absolutely. I think there are
I'm no,
people
I have
today.
no Netflix. I'm not saying I'm the parameter of
Greatness.
the greatness. Absolutely not, because. But if you have some passions and for to get and create a meaningful life,
Hmm.
you still can avoid the bullshit in the world, for sure.
I think so. I think so. But I still maintain that we're descendants of these people, right? So
Yeah,
we have their DNA, and I think it was and I'm not saying that. And the point is that there are people like Bill Gates who exist. You have Elon Musk. You have, of course, Steve Jobs, who was alive maybe 10 years ago. You had people who were passionate enough. You have Leo Messi. You have Ronaldo. You have people who chase their passions to the highest hill, and they do incredible things and inspire people. But those people have always been few and far between. It's never been like a lot of people doing a lot of great stuff. That's never been the case throughout human history. You have a
yeah,
few
never,
people,
of course.
exactly. You
It's
have a
few
few people
people.
doing great things, and the rest are drinking wine and KFC.
Yeah,
That's been human nature, and
that's the
because
reality. Yeah,
exactly. So because we have Netflix now, it seems as if most of the world is just shit. But that's the
yeah.
truth. It's like KFC or not, or Netflix or not, there are
There
going to be a
will be
lot.
always a few people that they are pursuing their own
Exactly.
way
Yeah. Yeah.
for greatness.
For greatness.
Yeah,
Greatness.
it's like
So
Leonardo without with Netflix. I think all of the projects would have failed. For sure.
but like you
Instead of
said,
succeeding.
that's that's the funny thing though, because I think someone like Da Vinci would, because he was just such a genius, he wouldn't have even indulged in a lot of these things, like social media,
Yeah, yeah.
Netflix,
It doesn't
and
care.
he
Yeah.
he would have been like Elon Musk, basically. He would have been an engineer, he would have built
Yeah,
rockets
yeah.
and
There are higher
literally.
things for them, for those people.
Absolutely, because Elon Musk exists, and there's Netflix, there's Twitter. I mean, and Elon Musk uses Twitter as well, which is amazing. Which is really annoying because he sounds like an idiot on Twitter, but he's a genius.
I don't follow, but yeah, I think
Yeah,
so.
yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, I don't follow him on Twitter or anything like that in terms of what he's
But for
saying.
sure, it's unpredictable, even when he's using these things, because his personality is unpredictable,
I
like
think,
many
well,
genius.
he is a genius, so I think only geniuses should be allowed to use social media.
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly. You're right. You're right. I mean, he's not going to use Twitter like a regular person because
They
as he's
deserve a bit of bullshit too.
yeah,
So
they need to switch off. They need to switch off.
yeah.
Absolutely. So Elon Musk on Twitter is like, okay, fair enough. He needs to switch off. But the fat guy at KFC 24 hours a day, no, maybe you should go to the gym. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, I like this poem.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
9 out of 10.
Yeah, I would say
This is
so.
my
I would
rank,
give it. I'll give it that.
my
Two
grade.
epigrams about death and belief. So I want to thank my friend's name is Rabia. So I'll say her name.
Thank you,
Th-
Rabia,
Thank you, Rabia, for
for
inspiring me
this
to read
gift.
Arabic
Yeah.
literature. Because I like to go around the world and go, okay, what's everyone saying? And we're all saying the same thing if you're smart. But
Yeah,
you
yeah.
can also go around the world and see everyone can they have their own variation of KFC.
Mamma mia.
Exactly. You know. But
Mamma mia.
but you
Mamma
also
mia.
have your variation of this guy, Marat Al Newman.
Yeah.
Marat. Yeah.
My appraisal.
Yeah. Excellent. A plus.
All
Oh
right.
well. I think we
So,
did just I
salam
think we did justice for
alaikum
that.
to all of our followers.
Assalamu alaikum to
Yeah.
all the
Shukran.
Christians.
And
To,
shukran.
to
Also.
all the
And
Christians.
shukran.
To all the Christians, Muslims, Jews, and atheists. And
Buddhists too.
Buddhists and Hindus.
Yeah.
Yeah. Peace and love to everyone. except Donald Trump and Boris Johnson.
Yeah.
All right, man.
All right.